A scoreboard. Hey, isn't there a big difference between a pickup basketball game and an organized basketball game? Couldn't you argue the two main things that separate a pickup game from an organized game are referees and the scoreboard? Is there really anything different between an organized basketball game and a pickup game besides the fact that there are referees with whistles and a scoreboard to keep track of the game? Same court, same rules for the most part, right? If you're sitting 5-on-5, whatever, right? Same rules, same court, same hoops, like same thing. But now we have people to enforce the rules. We have accountability, right? And we have a scoreboard. We have a tracker. Why, like, do we want our businesses to resemble pickup games, or do we want our businesses to resemble organized games? Do we think that, do the clients that we want to serve, do they want to walk into a pickup game? Do they want to walk into Ball Arena? How you manage your business, how you keep the accountability, how you then keep track of all this stuff is going to make the difference between whether your clients walk into your neighborhood pickup game on a Saturday morning versus rolling in to watch, the real estate joke-ish equivalent of Brian Avery do his thing. Like, why do people not track? And I think this is super important. And we're going to go through and at the end of this, we're going to show you the tools in Sterling. And I really hope you guys from Friday have started using these tools. We're going to show them at the very end, so that way you guys know exactly where some of the scoreboard stuff is living these days. But a lot of times, simply the reason why people stop tracking, I'm probably picking on Nate too much. I don't even know if he actually said this. I got to talk to my AI about this one. But at the end of the day, people stop tracking because they get depressed. It's the biggest reason why people stop keeping track of their numbers. Either they're depressed that they're not hitting their goals. I'm going to make 10 contacts a day. All right, 2, 1, 0, 2, 2, 1. I don't need to do it anymore. I'm never hitting my goals, right? Or they do it and they don't see any results for about 30 days and they stop. What was the point of keeping track of this thing? I'm still not seeing anything, right? And so the problem isn't the tracking. The problem, frankly, is that we're either tracking the wrong numbers, or we're not sticking with it long enough, right? Or we're just not willing to make the honest assessment, hold ourselves accountable that maybe we need to put in more work in order to achieve our goals, right? So let's make sure we're tracking the right things, and let's make sure that we actually set some reasonable goals for ourselves. So we don't fall into this whole loop of depression. So one of the main things that differentiates our coaching program with other coaching programs out there is that we are consistent, and that a real estate agent should be making 10 to 20 contacts a day. Contacts are the most important metric in real estate sales. Unless you are an Instagram influencer or a YouTube influencer, or you have a lead machine on autopilot, I would still argue contacts per day are the most important number. Even if you are just posting videos online and then taking phone calls for people that want to do business with you, isn't it still important the more people who call you every day? Isn't that going to drive your business? More contacts. It doesn't matter how many videos you post if you're not picking up the phone and talking to these people who call you. Contacts per day. In our program, we say you got to make 10 to 20 contacts a day. Now, the question then becomes, what is a contact, Jared? Now, Brian Avery, I don't want to debate this with you too hard, but a contact is typically, hi, how are you? This is Brian. What's up in your life? When can we get together? You don't even need to talk about real estate, but you need to have a conversation with someone, recreation, dreams, and at the very end, maybe ask them about someone who's going through a life event. Like, hey, do you have any friends who are having kids right now? Because they're probably looking for homes. Do you have anyone whose parents might be passed away recently, might need some help with the estate sale? Right? Asking for a referral. That's a contact. Then the most important thing that we're going to keep track of is database ads per week. The more people that know and trust you, the more business you will get. If no one knows who you are and you are a secret agent, you will be a secret agent forever. You have to put yourself out there and meet new people. It feels really awkward until you go to the gym of meeting new people and putting them in your database for a few months, and then it stops being awkward. So even if you think about it, let's say that I want to add, a lot of agents struggle to get to 100 people in their sphere. Now, I find that kind of interesting because I know that if I were to take every single one of your phones and go through your contacts, you got more than 100 people in there. So I still don't know how people struggle to get to 100 people in your sphere. That's lost on me, especially now that these people literally show up in your contacts sometimes, not just because of Apple or something now, right? I mean, And Telegram, I mean, people are showing up on my Telegram now, just like, oh, hey, what's up? There's no reason that you don't have more than 100 people on your phone. So let's just say we started with 100 people in our sphere, because I would say that's what you need to have a legitimate chance of being successful in real estate. Because 100 people in our sphere, if we market to them all the time, will yield somewhere between 5 and 10 deals a year. And isn't that kind of the baseline that we need to pay our bills in Colorado, right? So if we have 100 people, now let's say we want to triple our business. The easiest way to triple our business is to go from 100 people to 300 people that we know, right? If you assume that we're going to treat the next 200 people the same as we treated the first 100, and we're going to market to them the same way, we're going to treat them the same way, we're going to have the same conversations, we're going to invite them to the same events, we're going to do all the same things, isn't it reasonable to expect that we would receive the same kind of referrals from that new 200 people after a certain period of time? So therefore, if we wanted to triple our business, isn't the easiest way to do that to triple the number of people that we talk to? Success is simple, not easy, guys, right? The math here is very simple. Now, Jared, I can already hear you thinking, holy crap, Jared, I got 100 people. How the hell am I going to get to 300? Brian Avery, what's the best way to eat an elephant? One bite at a time, my man. That's how you do it. One bite at a time and butt first. And guess what? That is one person a day. If you add one new person to your database per day, you will go from 100 to 300 in less than a year. In fact, it would probably only take you 10 months. So if you wanted to triple your business and you came to me and say, hey, Jared, I do X, I want to triple X into Y, I would say, great. How many people are you adding to your database every day? Because I would argue if we're spending 8 hours a day in sales, or at least 4 hours a day in sales, right? Maybe 4 hours in previewing and videoing and all the other stuff the real estate agents do. But if we're spending 4 hours a day in sales, isn't it weird that we wouldn't be talking to one new person a day? And by the way, this could be open houses. So if you hold an open house on a Saturday, and let's say you get 5 new leads and you add 5 new people to your database, don't you just take care of 5 people in one day? We're going to talk about time blocking, right? Block it all into a day. And if you are focused on averaging 1 new person per day in your database, I guarantee you will triple your business in the 12 to 24 months following when you do this. Now, there are other numbers we're going to want to track, right? I mean, it's not just contacts and database ads. It's also, appointments that we set. It's conversions of those appointments into clients. It's clients into closings. There are other things down the value chain. We're going to keep track of 2 things. Those 2 things have to be contacts per day and they have to be database ads per week. So let's talk about a scoreboard. And this, maybe this will be a good time for us to jump into some of the newer tools that we have. And let me get that queued up here in the background while we kind of get some of this stuff running. So build your scoreboard, and here are the rules for your scoreboard. I just took down the scoreboard that Matt and the former Chevron crew had in the office, but there's a scoreboard up there keeping track of all the stuff. Here are the rules. Your scoreboard has to be physical, not just digital. I can only deliver you a digital scoreboard on Sterling. I can't send you guys physical scoreboards. So I will take care of the digital scoreboard for you. Your scoreboard should be physical. The best way for me to see this stuff was I had my pipeline right over as a newer agent. When I was in production, I had my pipeline right over my computer, and I could see all the deals I had under contract. And I literally had like all my contacts per day on the scoreboard. So literally, if I just looked up, I only got like 1 under contract and 2 active buyers. I got to figure some stuff out. Put it behind your screen. It doesn't do you any good if your scoreboard is in your closet, in that corner where light doesn't hit it, and it kind of smells funky, so you don't go over there. So make sure that you can see your scoreboard. Make your scoreboard color-coded. Happy faces, green lights if we hit it. Red is bad. Humans like rewards, and maybe some of us like punishment, but typically we react well to punishment or reward. If you're going to take an action, right? If you're going to do something, isn't it best from a learning, development, whatever perspective if you get feedback? So if you do something and you get no feedback, aren't you like, oh, what was that? Whereas if you do something and let's say you put an 8 on your scoreboard and the goal was 10 and it flashes red, don't you get immediate feedback with that red flash? Whereas if you put 12 on your scoreboard and it flashes green, don't you feel freaking great? It is so important that we don't underestimate the power of our brains and what these little reactions can be over time. Because these little things, if you've ever heard of neurofeedback, have you guys ever heard of neurofeedback therapy? I've gone through it. I'm 100% transparent about this. I had like crippling anxiety for a period of my life. And this changed my life. And what's incredible about neurofeedback therapy is that it teaches you to not underestimate the little things that get put into your brain. And what I mean by that is you can take someone with crippling anxiety who can't be off their phone, who can't even play a round of golf without checking his phone 24 times, who's worried about missing a call or a text from a client, in between his tee shot and approach shot, right? Imagine how awful that is if you have to check your phone after every single golf shot. Trust me, it's a lot when I play, right? To basically staring at a TV, listening to some birds chirp in your ear, while you're really focused on a screen that kind of like shades in and out. And all of a sudden, after like 3 months of doing that, you don't have any more anxiety because you created new neural pathways based on the beeps and buzzes that were going off incoherently in your ear. And imagine Pavlov's dog, like, on absolute steroids here, right? But it's the same principle. Your brain, and they have systems and technology, and it's proven to do this. Even hearing random incoherent beeps and buzzes at certain periods of time that are synced with your brain waves will train your brain to behave in a certain way. So don't tell me that a coherent red or green every single day showing up on your calendar will not have an impact on your behavior, because that will impact your brain waves, and your brain waves will impact your behavior. The way you talk to yourself will impact your behavior because it will impact your brain waves. So let's not discount this stuff. It might seem small to have a red or green or smiley face or sad face, but these are the nuggets that our brain needs to train itself. We need to update at the same time every day. And I typically like to do this as part of a sign-off process or a preparation for my next day. And I'm sure that there's going to be that day where you crush your goals and you have so much to write down and you're like, boom, and that's great, right? Just get in the habit of doing it every day, because there are going to be good days and there are going to be bad days, right? And we don't want those good days to get us we don't want those good days to get us too high, and we don't want those good days to be too low. And in sales, isn't it fair to say that sometimes we just have good days and sometimes we just have bad days without any real difference? Sometimes we're lucky and we talk to the right people. Some days we're not. So maybe the success we had that day was finally the universe smiling upon us and giving us luck. We should be really excited about that, but we don't want to change our routine, because at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. We don't know when the universe is going to give us a lead. It's going to give us a lead at some point. This is what being a professional is about, right? The most, in my opinion, if you look at football players, the most successful football players, or at least the guys that I look up to, Christian McCaffrey scores a touchdown. What does he do? Flips the ball to the ref and runs back to the sideline. There's nothing, right? We want to be CMC with our real estate businesses. We get a lead, great. There's a process. There's a system. Cool. You're just another one. We've got this whole thing. It's those agents get, oh my God, I got a lead. What do I do? Holy crap. And then you just lose things and it's disorganized and you just get overexcited, right? Act like you've been there before. And so let's just do this all at the same time. And by the way, never erase a bad day. And erase also means not record. Same thing. Because the bad days are what's going to give us the feedback that we actually need. I don't know about you guys, but I learn the best when I crash and burn. It's really hard for me to look at my successes with the same kind of, I would say with the same scrutiny, right, as your failures. It's really easy to scrutinize your failures. It's really hard to scrutinize your successes. Now, one thing that I will give the military, and I give the military a lot, especially special forces, what do they do after every single mission?
Do like a feedback report. What happened? What they did? What they did bad? What
Isn't
they
it
could do
called
better
an
on.
AR or an after action report?
What was that?
Isn't it called an after action report or an AAR?
Hold on. For some reason, my computer just muted you. What did you say? Sorry. One more time.
Your computer was smart. Isn't it called an after action report?
After action. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called.
It's okay, man. It's all good. Civilian, 1 point. Thank you, Freddie. AAR, exactly. It's after action report. If the mission goes bad, do they stop doing AARs?
No.
If the mission goes good, do they stop doing AARs?
No, they keep doing it.
Because you keep learning. We learn from everything, right? So let's, what do most agents do here when the board is red or negative, right? This is what most people do. They stop tracking. They call it a depression metric. They decide the system doesn't work. They go back to winging it, right? Whereas if you're a top producer, I'm just going to be honest, it takes time. Real estate is time on task over time. And if you haven't spent the time yet, the next best time to do it is now. Just know that if you're going to try and transform your business, transform your life, and achieve all the goals that you guys had, it's going to take time. Because if this was really easy and didn't take time, don't you think the other 40,000 people that are allegedly real estate agents in Denver would already be doing this stuff and taking all your business from you? It's going to take time. Real estate, people who are successful in real estate are about people that can withstand pain better than the success, better than chase the success. There is more pain in sales than success. Not rejection, I'll say pain. There's more pain in sales than success. And so those people who do well in sales are the people that can deal with pain. The higher your pain tolerance, the more that you can take, the more successful you're going to be, because you can withstand those things that otherwise knock people off the horse. So I'm just telling you, if you really want to commit to changing your life and changing your business, this is going to be a 6 to 9 month process. There is absolutely no shortcut here. And so if we haven't been doing it, I love the momentum we got on the beginning of this call. If we haven't been doing it, that's great. Now we got to start doing it to keep it tracked. So lastly, we're going to jump into just the accountability edge and what it means to have accountability, because we talked about this. If you're left to your own devices, aren't there 2 things that humans always want? Wes, maybe a third, but take your mind out of the gutter. We want to be right. We want to look good and we want to be right. So if our mind is always, designed to protect us, we want to always look good. We always want to be right. If we have a bad day and we don't have any accountability, what's going to happen at the end of the day? Aren't we going to start rationalizing why it was okay? Because we're trying to protect ourselves, right? So let's bring accountability partners into the mix here. And thank God we have an even number of people. And I love it because we're going to start a big group thing with our Everything They Didn't Teach You in Real Estate School today, which is great. And we're going to open it up to the rest of the brokerage tomorrow. But here are the best people who are, look, if you want true accountability, those people who are most invested in your success are your best accountability partners. How much different? I'm going to go back to picking on Noah because I know Sephra, so I can do this. Hey, Noah. Let's just say I was your accountability partner, and I know you would be terrified of ever telling me that you didn't do what you said you were going to do in a day. How much more terrifying would it be if you had to tell Sephra?
Equal, if not more.
I hope more. She hopes it's more, right? What if we had to go home and, I don't know why you're in everyone's in this business for different reasons, right? A lot of people are in this business for their kids. What if we had to go home from work, go home or sign off every day and tell our kids, the ones that we are doing this work to put food on the table, to put money in their college accounts, to give them a better life than we had. And we had to tell them that we did not do our jobs today.
That's pretty shitty, is my language.
What kind of example would you be setting for your children if they felt that it was a pattern that you never achieved your goals? Now, I'm not saying that there aren't learning experiences. Maybe a great parent will show their children that 9 times out of 10, you're going to be great. And that one day, you're allowed to give yourself a little bit of grace. That's totally acceptable, right? Which is a very different message than 9 times out of 10, not coming home and telling your kids that you did not do what you told them you were going to do in the morning. Just let that one sink in for a second. So let's think about accountability partners. And let's think about those people that we can bring into our business to hold us accountable. Those people that we're burning the boats. Just by bringing in these people, we're burning the boats, right? Because if we bring these people in, we have no shot, we don't have a choice. If you bring your wife or your husband into your accountability partner, and then they see for the next couple of weeks a pattern of you not doing your job, how is that going to impact your relationship? If you bring in your kids to your accountability partner, and they see weeks of you not doing what you said you were going to do, how is that going to impact their feeling of you, your relationship with them, and the lessons you're teaching them to be professionals in the future? If you bring in your team members, the ones that you're prospecting with, finding deals with, and you tell your team that you're not doing this consistently, how is that going to feel within your team? So what we're going to do is we're going to start thinking of some rewards that our accountability partners are going to give us. Now, there are some great Green Week rewards. And by the way, I'm a huge proponent of this. Whenever we talk about business planning, if you ever do a one-on-one business session with me, I will tell you, you cannot work 7 days a week. You are not allowed. A, because that's a really bad habit to get into. And B, you got to also budget to live life. If you want to work 24/7 in this industry, you could. There's always something else to do. I promise you, right? And we also need to make sure that we reward ourselves. And this is a reward, good or bad, but we're rewarding ourselves because we always want to basically take that weekly feedback. So here are some Green Week penalty or rewards rather, right? But Green Week rewards, maybe a fun dessert. I don't know, maybe a round of golf, movie, sleep in, turn off your alarm. It doesn't need to be like, oh, I'm going to buy myself a car. That's great. You close a big deal, you want to buy a car, do it. Awesome. It doesn't need to be that big. What's one thing that is a luxury for you in your life right now? For me, it's as simple as waking up on a Sunday morning with my girlfriend and having a cup of coffee for 2 hours and just turning Blue Pebble off. I love Corvus coffee. They make a great pour over. I have bags of it in my freezer. If you ever meet with me, it's probably a Corvus. So I just look forward to having my 1 cup of coffee on Sunday morning, maybe turning on the golf channel. My girlfriend's next to me. The dogs are not a pain in the butt. That's what I look forward to. And it's a lot easier to enjoy that when I know I put in the work the week before, right? Now, I'm also saying you should disincentivize yourself or de-reward yourself or penalize yourself to some extent if we don't achieve these goals. If we don't do what we said we're going to do, maybe we just skip Friday happy hour. And why would we skip the happy hour? It's not to skip the happy hour and mope. Maybe that hour and a half would make a big difference in our business. Maybe that's a great catch up for the things that we didn't do the week before. Maybe we just commit to ourselves and we're going to wake up early on the Saturday morning before we have to do all this stuff just to get caught up. Because not doing things is not like, it's not about not doing it and like, oh, I just didn't do it, I'll do better next week. It's compounding. It takes a certain amount of activities and time and things to build a real estate business. And the more things that you don't do over time, that just compounds. And so you can't just forget about a bad week. You have to catch up. And so a lot of these penalties are about spending the time to catch up, because otherwise you are just letting that learning lesson go by the wayside and you've put yourself back and there's no recovery here, right? Do an extra 30 minutes of prospecting. And then I think, that this is what you need to do to basically get back on track. So for next session, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is go through the 135 business plan, and then we're going to use AI to help us kind of create this new schedule. So this is what we're going to want to do before session 3. We're at 1:00, so if you need to bounce, totally cool. But we're going to basically build your physical scoreboard, time block your next week, track your completion percentage. We're going to choose a stakeholder and accountability partner. And we're also, by the way, this is a great book that we recommended last week. Fanatical Prospecting. We're going to make sure we read through chapters 1 through 5. This is exactly what we need to be talking about for this. So this is the end of session 1 in terms of mindset and foundation. So next week, what we're going to do is start getting into goals, businesses, financing, the 135, our business plan, all those kinds of things before we jump into marketing and branding. Just going to leave it at that. If we stuck to a schedule for a year, if you stuck to a plan of working out every day for an hour for a year, do you think you would look different? So if you stuck to a calendar, a schedule, and a business plan for a year, do you think your business would look different? Here's one thing I want to show you. There are a couple new cool things on Sterling. And so I just want to very quickly show you some of these new cool things. So that way we can help you guys with some of this accountability and data tracking that we've been talking about. So if you log into your dashboard, you haven't been in Sterling in a while, it's going to look a little bit new. You're going to see today's focus. You're also going to see some numbers up here. If you go into your coaching resources, specifically, there is now a coaching journal and an activity planner that everyone has access to. So the coaching journal is a place where you can record all your stuff, right? So if you want to put down, how many sphere contacts did you have? How many nurtures did you generate? Did you set an appointment? Where did you send it through? Was it sphere, cold, network, whatever? Oh, well, I had a closing for my business network today. I'm going to submit that. The nice thing is that this then pops up on your dashboard right here at the top, right? So you now have the ability to keep a score right here in your coaching journal. We can save reflections. You'll see history and trends. There's all sorts of things that we can do if you start adding your numbers. So within the coaching resources, if you don't have a scoreboard digitally, remember, we're still building a physical scoreboard. If you want a digital scoreboard, so that way, you can do better data analysis, see some patterns. Here you have a coaching journal within Sterling. This should be readily accessible for you guys and working already. Additionally, and this is what we're going to do starting next week, but we can get ahead of it with an activity planner. So what you're going to do is go to setup, put in your average stuff. So like your average sale price, your commission rate, approximately what your split's going to be, your cap, how much money you want to make, the other expenses that you might have. You save your plan and it basically outputs a planner. So just like you might have a workout app, right, that every day gives you a new workout routine, think about this like that. Every week, it will give you your weekly routine that you need to do. Okay. And the nice part is it will put it on its dashboard. Boom, right here. So every day, here we go. Let's go. And you can go back into your coaching journal. Oops, sorry, your activity planner. Let's say you had your 9 conversations today. Great. That gets knocked off here, and you're good to go. Right. So just a couple other things to play with in Sterling. If you guys see any things that you want to add, either scoreboard tracking, activities, whatever, we're going to play a little more with it next week. Happy to do it. And at least now you have a little bit more visibility in your business of some of the things right now in Sterling on the dashboard. So thank you all very much for coming today. Really appreciate it. Let's start working on tie block schedules. Next week, we're going to do business planning and really starting to put all the stuff, all the pieces together for what activities actually do. And I would just encourage you over the next week to really look through what activities are we doing in prospecting. Let's get that scoreboard created. Let's find that accountability partner, and let's get these businesses moving forward. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.